Notes from my 2011 reading of the Odyssey as a University of Washington student. Today is Thursday, 21 May 2026 AD, and here I, Tanis, she, her, hers of Seattle, talk through my notes from my 2011 reading of the Odyssey, approximately 8th century BC, as a like crafting / publishing date for the Odyssey by Homer. And this was as a University of Washington student, themes in Near East literature course, including a contextualization of the work / author in relation to the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is a work that was over 1,000 years older, so approximately 2100 to 1200, well, depending on which date and version they're looking of, 2100 to 1200 BC. Am I thinking about attempting a graduate degree in language and literature? So this was a pairing that it did come to mind. So I was in school, I ended up for that. So before the University of Washington, so I graduated with my first college degree at 17 years of age in June 2010. I know, commencement the week before I graduated from high school. Yeah. And then I went on and I got a Bachelor of Science degree in Geology and Geophysics with a academic minor, actual paperwork, coursework that was above and beyond degree requirements, enough that I could get a minor at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. So the minor was mathematics. And this is one where the Odyssey was a little bit different. It was one, it evoked a lot of rage. I think it was an emotion, but there were like quiet spells. And some of it was, I would say, like there was like a responsive, I'm a she, her, hers, and a little bit of like, man will never own me kind of thing, but like not necessarily that. I was like, but I don't know what it is. It's like maybe like heart curiosity, because it was like it was a little bit of like a pumping heart where it was like you know, some of it was like settled and then unsettled, settled, unsettled, or whichever direction one wants to go, like a pumping heart, because the heart is a pump. It pumps blood through the system and oxygen and nutrients and that kind of stuff. It keeps a human alive. And so it's in that sense, it got me thinking a little bit. I was like, I'm not frustrated by what I'm reading, like in terms of what I'm thinking. Like it's just kind of like there's like rage emotion. And so I was like, is this like a heart kind of thing? And then some of the passages, I remember a few of the passages, and they were kind of had a very like heart sense of home feel to them. So this is and the Odyssey by Homer is one that does come in at like self-observation of my heart and how it comes in to play in terms of like interpreting language and literature and writing. So it was a very formative, although it doesn't mean it was the start of that formative. It was a part of the formative journey of like, I do self-experimentation in cardiology, and cardiology is the study of the heart and the corresponding blood system, at least for me. And so it was foundational, in part of the founding in the sense of like self-observation, and before setting out on like very carefully designed self-experimentation in approximately 2017. So this is one that did factor in there, where I was like my physiological response to it. I was like, this is a heart text, so it was a bit different. And then it was kind of the Epic of Gilgamesh came along and as well, and that one was just like it hit kind of whereas this one was like a beating heart. It was like, you know, the Epic of Gilgamesh was like a vibrating, I'm just so happy heart, you know, happy flowing blood or something. Or I was just like the things that this one got right in terms of like my taste, Tanis' taste, the Odyssey, the Epic Gilgamesh was kind of like the whole thing was like Tanis' taste. So it was really cool. And I was like, well, if I went for, I think if I were to go to graduate school, not that I have any idea what it was back then, it'd be cool to do the one where I don't quite have the like, because I'd say like the Epic of Gilgamesh fit. I was like, I might choose the one that's a little bit more of like, I'm not at a full fit, because then like maybe that's something I could work on if I went to graduate school, is like quote unquote like making it fit. I don't know, so I didn't know what graduate school was at that point in time and stuff. And so I was like, so this one, like if I had to go to graduate school, I'd choose this one because it's not as immediately apparent as to like what it's fit, if none other than my heart stuff. So if I went to graduate school, would I focus on the heart stuff? Could I do that? And that's actually something. I read the Iliad not too long ago, and I have two copies of the Odyssey by Homer on hold. I was like, maybe I'll wait till Monday and see if any have come in, and if any have come in, then, you know, give the library systems a fair chance to, you know, compete with each other instead of rushing it, because I also have The Art of War on hold, which I've read a few times already and done notes for. But yeah, there we go. But I'm filming this today before I Love Boosters 2026 film, possibly tomorrow, which is this is part of training for seeing a movie adaptation of the Odyssey 2026 film in theaters, potentially later this year. And this is actually a reading that I ruminated / pondered they might make a movie for, the Odyssey, similar to 2024, or not 2024, apologies, 2004 film Troy. So I saw that one in theater, and so theaters, and so there was a little bit of like, so that was about the Battle of Troy, and this is like soldiers going home after the Battle of Troy kind of thing, we'll say. It's been a chunk of time since I've read it. Or there's soldiers going home via water passage and waterway, at least for part of the journey. And so this was one that I was like in reading, I was like, they might make a movie out of this. It's kind of like Hollywood vibes. Troy wasn't less than a decade ago, and I saw it in theaters when it initially released. So reading the Odyssey back then, approximately February 2011, reading the Odyssey, my ruminating for that circumstance was local, like the soldiers, for food / cinema going, movie theaters such as Edmonds Theater, and food places such as Cinnabon, founded in the Seattle area. And I even came up with a, like, so if they were to make it into a movie, my top two for theaters were Edmonds Theater and AMC Alderwood. And my top two for food were Cinnabon and Red Robin. I also, each founded in Seattle, I also came up with, I could eat something true to ancient Greece, and came up with perhaps Greek yogurt. I wanted something mentioned in Homer's work though. So it was like, I might have to read it for like that kind of a perspective. Oh, osprey. There's an osprey up there. A water bird. Maybe they sold them out there. Did they have ospreys in Greece, or wherever the Odyssey was? And since this reading that I'm talking about in 2011, I found goat cheese in the Iliad, which I made it amusing about. I made a guess about the past, you know, over 2,000 years earlier, and I actually got it correct. So there's one, but yeah, I was supposed to go back and read it, and some of you are like, well, what about Regal Cinnabar? The angle, and I'm thinking through seeing this, the angle for Regal Cinnabar at this moment, I think for this particular snapshot of time, perhaps would be, I saw 2004 film Troy at Mount Lake 9, which was the theater in the same locality where the Regal Cinnabar Mount Lake is located. So it would be carrying on a legacy in terms of like locality, and putting that as kind of a priority. But I kind of like the like local food. But then there's also like as in close sourcing, maybe close is better than local, but like close / local, and then also something like true to the times as best I can, like goat cheese. So anyway, those are notes from my 2011 reading of the Odyssey as a University of Washington student.